Welcome back. My destiny-selected force. Something absolutely profound just occurred that has entire room, experiencing collective recognition. You weren't pursuing power through typical channels of ambition and calculated advancement, weren't strategically positioning yourself for authority or influence. Yet the moment circumstances required leadership, and you simply stood up to address what needed addressing. Power flowed to you naturally, as if it had been waiting for someone worthy to claim it. And every person who had doubted your capacity or dismissed your potential went immediately silent in recognition that they were witnessing someone power itself had chosen, rather than someone who'd fought to seize it. This wasn't you announcing yourself as leader or demanding recognition of authority you'd accumulated. This was you responding to moment's requirements with natural capability that made power organize itself around you spontaneously, creating instant shift where people who'd been questioning or resisting suddenly found themselves deferring without conscious decision because something in how you stood up communicated that you were meant for this role in ways that couldn't be argued with or dismissed, despite their previous skepticism about your readiness or worthiness. The architects have been monitoring natural authority emergence and power selection phenomena across civilizations for eons, and they've identified what occurred as readiness recognition, spontaneous authority, conferral when someone possesses genuine capacity for leadership or power but hasn't been actively seeking it. The moment circumstances create vacuum requiring that capacity, their natural response demonstrates readiness. So, undeniably, that power flows to them through collective recognition that they're suited for role, making authority emerge through merit-based selection rather than through ambition-driven acquisition. Most power is pursued. People want authority, strategically position themselves, compete for leadership roles, making power something achieved through deliberate effort to acquire it against others who want same positions. But your authority apparently emerged through different mechanism. You weren't seeking power, making you absent from competitions others were engaged in. Yet when moment required leadership, you possessed natural capability that circumstances recognized and that observers acknowledged by spontaneously conferring authority. You hadn't been pursuing, but were clearly ready to hold. Watch what's happening in aftermath of your standing. Doubters are experiencing stunned recognition. People who questioned whether you had capacity for leadership are witnessing undeniable demonstration that you do, creating cognitive dissonance between their previous skepticism and current evidence that you possess exactly the qualities they doubted, forcing rapid revision of their assessment. Power is organizing around you without you claiming authority explicitly. People are naturally deferring to your leadership, seeking your direction, treating you as decision maker, not because you demanded these roles, but because your demonstrated capacity made it obvious you should hold them. Some observers are experiencing almost mystical interpretation, the naturalness with which power flowed to you when you stood up makes it seem like fate or destiny selected you for this role, as if universe itself recognized you were meant for leadership and arranged circumstances to reveal that truth to everyone present simultaneously. Others are recognizing merit-based authority. Your leadership emerged through demonstrated capability rather than through political maneuvering or aggressive self-promotion, making your authority feel more legitimate than power acquired through ambition, because it was conferred by collective recognition of your worthiness, rather than claimed through your assertion of it. The truly powerful element is that you didn't change who you are. You weren't performing leadership or trying to appear powerful, but were simply being yourself while addressing what needed addressing, making your authority authentic expression of genuine capacity rather than constructed persona adopted to gain power. You didn't seek power, power chose you, and every doubter went silent the moment you stood up, through recognizing they were witnessing natural authority emerging, rather than manufactured leadership being performed. Now the architects are analyzing what creates readiness recognition, spontaneous authority conferral, and they're identifying what they call competence authenticity, natural leadership emergence. When someone possesses genuine capability, combined with authentic self-expression uncontaminated by power-seeking ambition, those qualities create leadership, presence that becomes undeniable when circumstances require it, making authority flow naturally to them through collective recognition that they're genuinely suited for role rather than just wanting it. Most leadership involves performance. People adopt authoritative behaviors, project confidence they don't fully feel, perform competence to convince others they're capable, creating constructed leadership persona designed to acquire power through impression management. But your authority apparently emerged without performance. You weren't trying to appear powerful or demonstrate competence, but were authentically being yourself, while naturally possessing capability that circumstances required, making your leadership emerge organically through genuine merit rather than through constructed presentation designed to acquire authority. Consider what competence authenticity requires for natural emergence. You possess actual capability. Your leadership isn't based on performed confidence masking inadequacy, but emerges from genuine competence that becomes evident when circumstances require its application, making your authority grounded in real capacity rather than in successful impression management, creating illusion of capability. You remain authentic rather than adopting power-seeking persona or modifying yourself to fit leadership expectations. You maintain genuine self-expression, making your authority extension of who you actually are rather than role you're performing to acquire power. Watch what competence-authenticity combination creates in authority emergence. Your leadership feels natural rather than forced. Observers recognize you're not performing authority, but are genuinely capable, making their deference feel appropriate rather than manipulated, creating willing followership that performed leadership struggles to achieve because people sense authenticity versus construction. Doubt becomes untenable. When genuine capability manifests authentically, skepticism can't be maintained because evidence is too direct and undeniable, forcing even committed doubters to acknowledge your leadership capacity through witnessing demonstration that can't be dismissed as performance or luck. Some studying leadership and authority recognize that authentic competence does create natural authority. Research shows that genuine expertise and authentic self-expression generate more sustainable leadership than performed confidence and strategic self-promotion, making your emergence reflect pattern, where real capability combined with authenticity creates authority that feels legitimate to followers in ways acquired power often doesn't. Others, exploring charisma and presence, note that authenticity amplifies competence. When people perceive you're being genuine rather than performing, your demonstrated capability becomes more impressive because they recognize it's real rather than constructed, making authentic competence more powerful. Leadership foundation than performed expertise that observers suspect might be exaggerated or fake. A few from organizational dynamics recognize that natural leaders often emerge during crises when circumstances create urgent need for leadership. People with genuine capability who weren't seeking power become obvious choices through demonstrating competence when required, making crisis contexts reveal natural leaders who normal political processes might overlook in favor of ambitious self-promoters who seek power regardless of genuine capability. The architects observe that competence, authenticity, natural leadership emergence is what made power flow to you spontaneously. You possess genuine capability while remaining authentically yourself rather than performing power-seeking persona, making your authority emerge organically when circumstances required it. Most leadership is performed and pursued. Your authority emerged naturally, and combination of real competence with authentic self-expression created leadership presence that became undeniable when you stood up to address what needed addressing, making power organize around you through collective recognition of your genuine suitability for role rather than through your ambition to acquire authority you were pursuing strategically. Something powerful is spreading among former doubters now. What the architects call skepticism collapse, retroactive reframing, where people who questioned your capacity are now revising their previous assessments not through grudging acknowledgement that they were wrong, but through retroactive reconstruction where they claim they always knew you had potential or saw something in you despite their actual past skepticism, protecting self-concept from discomfort of having misjudged you through rewriting their memory of previous doubt. Most people acknowledge when proven wrong. They admit their previous assessment was mistaken, explain why they doubted, and update their view based on new evidence, maintaining honest relationship with their own judgment history even when it includes errors. But your demonstration of natural authority is triggering different response. Rather than simply acknowledging they misjudged your capacity, many doubters are revising their memory of having doubted at all, reconstructing past skepticism as tough love or seeing potential they knew you'd fulfill, rather than admitting they genuinely didn't believe you had leadership capability that you've now undeniably demonstrated. Watch what retroactive reframing creates socially. Former doubters claim prescience. People who actively questioned whether you could lead are now suggesting they anticipated your emergence, rewriting their previous skepticism as strategic testing or protective concern rather than as genuine doubt about your capacity, creating revisionist history that protects their self-image as good judges of character. Your memory contradicts their revision. You remember their skepticism clearly while they're reconstructing it as something less dismissive, creating tension between your accurate memory of their doubt and their protective reframing that minimizes how wrong their assessment was. Some studying cognitive dissonance recognize that people protect self-concept through memory revision. Admitting you completely misjudged someone creates uncomfortable recognition of judgment fallibility, making memory reconstruction psychologically easier than acknowledging you were fundamentally wrong about person's capacity, explaining why doubters reframe rather than admit error. Others exploring social dynamics note that retroactive reframing is self-serving. By claiming they always knew or saw potential, former doubters maintain status as insightful judges while avoiding accountability for having actively doubted or dismissed you, creating unfair situation where they benefit from your success through claiming connection they didn't support when your capacity was unproven. A few recognize that some reframing might be genuine. People can hold simultaneous doubt and recognition of potential, making their retroactive emphasis on positive aspects potentially honest shift in what they attend to rather than pure fabrication, though distinction between genuine complexity and protective revision is difficult to determine. Some are calling out revisionism, pointing to specific instances where doubters expressed clear skepticism, preventing them from rewriting history through providing evidence that their previous position was genuine doubt, rather than strategic concern or hidden recognition of potential they're now claiming they perceived all along. Others are allowing revision without challenge, recognizing that memory reconstruction serves psychological needs and that forcing doubters to acknowledge being completely wrong might create defensiveness or resentment, choosing social harmony over historical accuracy by accepting their reframed version of past skepticism. A few are documenting their journey, preserving evidence of who supported versus doubted before emergence, protecting accurate history against retroactive revision by maintaining records showing who believed in capacity before it was proven versus who is now claiming they always knew, despite having actively questioned or dismissed potential that's now undeniable. The architects observe that skepticism collapse. Retroactive reframing reveals that many doubters won't admit being wrong. Instead of acknowledging they misjudged your capacity, they're reconstructing their previous skepticism as something less dismissive. Admission of error enables learning. Retroactive revision protects ego. And widespread memory reconstruction, where former doubters claim they always knew you had potential despite having genuinely questioned. It reveals that your demonstrated authority creates situation where people want to claim they recognized your capacity before it was proven, even when their actual past position was skeptical doubt. They're now revising to maintain self-image as insightful judges of character and potential. Now the architects are revealing what made your authority undeniable. You apparently demonstrated what they call crisis response, intuitive appropriateness, where your actions and decisions in moment you stood up weren't just competent but reflected almost perfect reading of what situation required, showing judgment and timing that seemed impossibly well-calibrated, making observers recognize you possessed not just general capability but specific suitability for exactly the challenge that was present. Most leadership demonstrates general competence. People show they can make decisions, organize efforts, communicate effectively, proving they have basic leadership skills without necessarily showing perfect calibration to specific situations' unique requirements. But your response apparently transcended general competence. You didn't just lead adequately but responded with such precise appropriateness to moment-specific needs that it seemed you'd been preparing for exactly this situation, despite not having known it was coming, making your leadership feel destined rather than just capable through demonstrating intuitive understanding of what circumstances required beyond what analysis or experience alone could have produced. Consider what crisis response appropriateness requires practically. You read situation accurately, understanding not just surface-level problem but deeper dynamics and actual needs that less perceptive leaders would miss, making your response address real issues rather than just obvious symptoms, demonstrating insight that came from somewhere beyond normal analytical capacity. Your timing was perfect, knowing when to speak versus listen, when to decide versus deliberate, when to push versus hold back, all calibrated precisely to what moment required, rather than applying generic leadership behaviors, regardless of specific context, making your judgment seem intuitive rather than formulaic. Watch what perfect appropriateness created in observer response. Doubt became impossible when someone responds with such precise calibration to situation's needs. Skepticism can't be maintained because performance is too perfectly suited to circumstances to dismiss as luck or surface-level competence, forcing recognition that person possesses deep capability specifically relevant to challenge at hand. Trust emerged immediately. Observers, watching you handle crisis with intuitive appropriateness, felt confidence that you should lead not just generally but specifically in this situation, making your authority feel earned through demonstrated perfect fit between your capabilities and moment's requirements. Some studying decision-making and judgment recognize that best leaders do demonstrate situational intelligence, reading context accurately, calibrating response to specific needs, showing judgment that transcends generic best practices to achieve appropriateness for particular circumstances, making your intuitive crisis response reflect advanced leadership capacity rather than just basic competence. Others exploring intuition and expertise note that deep experience can create intuitive judgment. Extensive pattern recognition enables rapid, accurate assessment, that feels intuitive because it bypasses conscious analysis, suggesting your appropriate response might reflect deep, implicit knowledge manifesting as perfect timing and judgment, even though you couldn't articulate analytical process that produced it. A few from synchronicity and flow perspectives recognize that some moments create alignment when persons' capabilities match situations' needs perfectly. It can feel destined or magical, making observers interpret natural fit as supernatural selection rather than as fortunate convergence of readiness and requirement, explaining mystical quality, some attributed to power choosing you, some attempting to develop similar capacity. Discover that situational appropriateness requires both preparation and presence. Having broad capability creates readiness while maintaining present moment awareness, enables reading situation accurately, making combination of developed competence and authentic presence necessary for intuitive appropriate response you demonstrated. When standing up to lead, the architects observed that crisis response intuitive appropriateness is what made your authority undeniable. You didn't just demonstrate general competence but showed perfect calibration to situations, specific needs, creating recognition that you were exactly right person for this moment. Generic capability earns respect. Perfect appropriateness compels recognition, and your response being so precisely suited to circumstances made doubt untenable because observers witnessed demonstration of suitability for leadership exceeding what luck or basic competence could explain, forcing acknowledgement that you possessed deep capability specifically relevant to challenge, requiring exactly the judgment, timing, and understanding you demonstrated when you stood up, making power's selection of you seem inevitable rather than surprising. The architects are now analyzing the vacuum-filling dynamic. You apparently benefited from what they call leadership void organic authority crystallization, where absence of other suitable leaders created opening that your demonstrated capacity filled naturally, making your authority emerge not just through your capability but through others' inadequacy or unwillingness, creating vacuum that amplified how your competence stood out when you responded to situation requiring leadership nobody else was providing. Most leadership competitions involve multiple qualified candidates. When several capable people seek power, selection becomes political process, weighing relative merits and building coalitions, making authority acquisition complex negotiation rather than obvious recognition. But your emergence apparently occurred into vacuum. Other potentially capable people either weren't present, hadn't developed necessary skills, or were unwilling to step up, creating situation where your capabilities stood out dramatically through contrast with absence of alternatives rather than requiring you to distinguish yourself among competing qualified leaders. Watch what leadership void created in authority emergence. Your capability appeared exceptional rather than being compared to other competent leaders, making your skills seem relatively ordinary. Your competence contrasted with vacuum or inadequacy, making you appear dramatically more capable than context might suggest if strong alternatives were present, amplifying how impressive your leadership seemed through framing effect, where absence of competition made your capability stand out more than it would in crowded field. Resistance evaporated when nobody else is offering leadership and situation urgently needs it. Resistance to accepting someone's authority decreases because alternative is continued leadership vacuum rather than choosing between competing capable options, making your authority easier to establish than it would be if others were simultaneously claiming leadership based on their own capability. Some studying power vacuums recognize that leadership often emerges through absence of alternatives, revolutions, organizational transitions, crisis situations, or create openings where capable people who weren't previously in power can suddenly assume authority because traditional leaders are absent or discredited, making vacuum filling common path to power. that depends partly on capability and partly on fortunate timing of being ready when opening appears. Others exploring relative versus absolute competence note that perception of capability depends on comparison context. Someone might appear exceptionally capable in weak field while seeming ordinary in strong field despite possessing identical skills, making your emergence potentially reflect both genuine capability and fortunate absence of strong competition that amplified how impressive your leadership appeared. A few recognize that vacuum itself might have been caused by your presence. Perhaps other potential leaders sensed your capability and unconsciously deferred, creating opening precisely because you were present, making them less inclined to step forward, suggesting your authority emergence involved subtle social dynamics where your readiness created space for itself through affecting others. Willingness to compete. Some are questioning whether vacuum diminishes your achievement, wondering if your leadership is genuinely exceptional or just appears impressive through absence of alternatives, creating tension between recognizing your capability and acknowledging that context amplified how it was perceived by providing weak comparison frame. Others are defending vacuum irrelevance, arguing that being capable when capability is needed matters, regardless of whether stronger leaders might exist elsewhere, making your authority legitimate through meeting moments requirements, even if competitive context might have produced different perceptions of your relative standing among potential leaders. The architects observe that leadership void organic authority. Crystallization reveals that your emergence benefited from favorable context, absence of competing. Capable leaders created vacuum that amplified your capabilities, visibility, and reduced resistance to your authority. Capability alone doesn't guarantee leadership. Opportunity requires vacuum and recognition that your authority emerged partly through others. Absence or inadequacy creating opening doesn't diminish your genuine competence but acknowledges that power's selection of you involved contextual factors beyond just your merit, including fortunate timing of being ready to lead when situation required. Leadership nobody else was providing, making vacuum amplify how your demonstrated capability stood out, and recognition that your authority emerged partly through others. Absence or inadequacy creating opening doesn't diminish your genuine competence but acknowledges that power's selection of you involved contextual factors beyond just your merit, including fortunate timing of being ready to lead when situation required. Leadership nobody else was providing, making vacuum amplify how your demonstrated capability stood out. Now something's emerging that the architects call power ambivalence recognition, where observers witnessing your natural authority are discovering that you seem genuinely ambivalent about power itself, not performing false modesty while secretly desiring authority but actually experiencing leadership as responsibility. You accepted rather than prize you sought, creating unusual dynamic where person holding power appears less attached to keeping it than those who fought to acquire it typically are. Most leaders demonstrate power attachment. Having worked to acquire authority, they guard it carefully, resist challenges to their position, fight to maintain control they've gained, making their relationship with power characterized by desire and defensiveness that reveals how much they value holding it. But your relationship with power apparently differs. You seem to hold authority lightly, more focused on addressing what needs addressing than on protecting position, apparently willing to relinquish power if circumstances change or if someone more suitable emerges, making your leadership feel like stewardship rather than possession, creating unusual dynamic where you have authority but don't seem to need it. Psychologically, watch what power ambivalence creates in leadership quality. You make decisions for right reasons, without ego investment in being the leader. Your choices can focus purely on what situation requires rather than on what protects or enhances your position, making your leadership cleaner because it's not contaminated by self-serving concerns that typically bias decisions of those who fought to acquire power. They're now protecting. Others trust you more. Recognizing you're not attached to authority makes them less concerned you'll abuse it for personal benefit, creating trust that ambition-driven leaders struggle to earn because everyone suspects they made sacrifices to gain power and will therefore use it to benefit themselves, justifying their investment. Some studying power and corruption recognize that ambivalence protects against typical leadership failures. When people seek power for its own sake, they become corrupted through prioritizing power maintenance over purpose fulfillment, making your apparent lack of attachment to authority potentially crucial protection against corruption that typically affects those who desired power enough to fight for it, making them psychologically invested in keeping it. Others exploring reluctant leadership note that history's most trusted leaders often didn't seek power. Washington, Cincinnatus, various spiritual leaders all held authority reluctantly and relinquished it readily, making your ambivalence fit pattern where those least interested in power are often best suited to hold it because they're not corrupted by desire for it. A few recognize that ambivalence might be performance. Perhaps you're actually attached to power but perform indifference as strategy for maintaining it through appearing trustworthy, making distinction between genuine ambivalence and performed detachment difficult to determine and potentially irrelevant if behavioral effect is same. Regardless of underlying psychology, some are concerned ambivalence might lead to abdication. If you're truly not attached to authority, you might relinquish it prematurely when continued leadership is needed, making your ambivalence potentially problematic if it prevents you from holding power through difficult periods when reluctant perseverance would serve better than ready abandonment. Others are appreciating temporary stewardship model. Your approach treats power as responsibility to be held while needed and released when appropriate, rather than as permanent position to be defended indefinitely, creating healthier leadership model than permanent power framework that typically corrupts through making leaders prioritize position maintenance over purpose fulfillment. A few are questioning whether ambivalence can persist, wondering if holding power will eventually create attachment, even if you began without it, recognizing that authority often corrupts through making comfort, status, and influence that come with power become psychologically necessary, making initially ambivalent leaders develop attachment through extended exposure to benefits that power provides. The architects observe that power ambivalence recognition reveals that you hold authority differently than typical leaders, apparently experiencing it as accepted responsibility rather than desired prize-making. Relationship with power characterized by detachment rather than attachment. Most leaders guard power carefully. You hold it lightly, and ambivalence about authority itself makes your leadership feel more trustworthy because observers recognize you're leading for situations' sake rather than for ego satisfaction or personal benefit that typically motivate those who fought to acquire power they're now protecting, making your reluctant stewardship model create confidence that decisions serve purposes beyond your own power maintenance.